I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHack's Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is why men get married. So this episode is for the ladies. So I've been doing a lot of consultations with women these days. And while my consultations with men tend to run the gamut with respect to the topics under consideration, every single one of my consultations with women has been on one single topic, namely, how do I get married, Orion? And these conversations have been very enlightening, to say the least. Make sure you listen all the way to the end. One of the many things I've learned is that a lot of you ladies don't seem to appreciate that men don't approach the idea of marriage like you do. In fact, at any given moment, most men are not going to be interested in the prospect of settling down. And this creates a problem for you women because it can be very difficult to differentiate between the men who might be interested in getting married and the men who just aren't. You certainly can't tell the difference just by looking at them. However, while every situation is different, some general rules tend to apply. Leaving aside the question of whether men should get married, today I'm going to explain to you why men do get married when they choose to do so. In the vast majority of cases, men don't get married to their ideal woman. It's not like the movies, in which a confirmed bachelor is persuaded to tie the knot when the right woman comes along. That's not how it works for men. In the vast majority of cases, ladies, listen real close. Men get married to a woman who is good enough when everything is working. This means, ladies, that being the perfect woman is less important than choosing the right moment, and that being perfect is less important than being unproblematic. You have to appreciate that from the perspective of any relatively sane man. Starting a family is an enormous responsibility. No reasonable man is going to do that when he is feeling financially insecure, or his career prospects are uncertain, or he hasn't yet secured his place in the world, or conversely, when you threaten to leave the relationship, or you are emotionally volatile, or you nag, or complain, or criticize, or provoke, or neglect, or otherwise create unnecessary problems for him. Like I said, a man gets married when everything is working, both in his career and in his relationship. Starting a family when everything is not working is irresponsible. It's not a good idea to bring children into the world when material conditions are unstable, uncertain, or insufficient. And any decent man is going to appreciate that fact. The right woman at the wrong time does nothing to change this. What's more, a man who hasn't yet achieved the status, influence, or professional success he would like to enjoy will be very reticent to start a family because of how much time, energy, and attention a wife and children require. Time, energy, and attention that could otherwise be channeled into their personal and professional development. So men who, for whatever reason, haven't yet arrived at material stability or who haven't yet found their place in the world are not going to be interested, nor should they be interested in getting married. Why? Because it's not about you. It's about his moment in life. The upshot of this should be obvious. Women, if you want to get married sooner as opposed to later, you absolutely need to target a man who is stable, who is financially successful, and who already has attained to some status in the world. And this generally means older men. It takes time to do all of these things, and there's only so much a man can do to hurry it along. In general, a man who has everything else in place will eventually turn his attention to starting a family. Haven't you girls read Jane Austen? Like, the first line of Pride and Prejudice is, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife." Correct. It doesn't go the other way around. Why? Because once a man has a wife, it's harder for him to possess a good fortune. This is because the wife tends to use up not only the fortune, but the time, energy, and attention needed to create additional fortune as well. You women are expensive. And when we're dealing with you, we're not dealing with anything else. In any case, Austin was right. The fortune has to come first. So target older men because they're more likely to have it. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, please consider sending this episode to someone who might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. I'm also proud to announce that I'll soon be publishing my book, The Value of Others. So if you'd like to learn more about that, then you can go to my website and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Finally, please fill out an inquiry form on my website if you're looking to book a paid consultation. Link is in the description. Let's get back to it. Now, targeting older men is especially important to consider if you're a woman looking to find a husband in a major city like New York or San Francisco or Los Angeles. The cost of living in these cities is so insanely high that men need a lot more money to feel like they have enough to take on dependents. Like, it's hard enough to have a decent life as a single person in these places. Throw in a wife and kids, and a lot of guys are going to feel like they first need to increase their earning potential or their net worth by an order of magnitude. And it takes a lot of time and effort to do that. So that's one of the main reasons why men are getting married later in life. The material threshold at which men feel comfortable about responsibly taking on women and children is getting higher and higher as the cost of living increases across the board. And this is made even more difficult by the fact that men now need to compete with you women for the same money. Like, a lot of women are out there busting their ass thinking they need to provide for a husband and kids. Most women wouldn't get married to a man who required financial support. A lot of you are earning money to hedge your bets in case the marriage thing doesn't work out. But because you're doing that, you actually make it less likely that you will get married, because it's going to take more and more time and effort for the men around you to get the money they need to feel in order to feel like he's ready to share it with you and the kids without completely losing his life in the process. And if and when he gets there, he's probably not going to want to sign over all of that hard-earned money to a woman with 2 good years of fertility left, which is another reason why women should target older men, especially while they're still young. And here's the most important part of all this. It's the most important part because it's the part you women actually control. Men get married when everything is working, especially in the relationship. Every problem that you unnecessarily introduce into the relationship is a stumbling block that you're throwing in your own path. Why? Because when a man is thinking of getting married, he's going to look at his woman and think, could I deal with this for the rest of my life? That means if you're issuing demands and ultimatums, he's going to think, am I going to have to deal with demands and ultimatums for the rest of my life? And you know what? I don't care who he is not going to want to deal with demands and ultimatums for the rest of his life. So why the fuck would he sign up for that? Same thing with jealousy or criticism or laziness or emotionality or judgmentalism or sexlessness or any of the hundreds of things that women are subject to bringing to their relationships. To get married as a woman, you do not need to be hot. You do not need to be charming. You do not need to be brilliant or accomplished or anything nearly so positive. You have to be unproblematic. That's it. Because a man's imagination will magnify and extend every problem that you introduce into the relationship into the indefinite future. Trust me, this is enough to terrify an otherwise reasonable and well-meaning man away from marrying you. So, let's recap. Men get married when everything is working. This means that he has achieved some measure of wealth and status, and he has a clear and realistic vision for a future characterized by prosperous stability. When a man attains to this state, he will consider marrying a woman provided she is not introducing any more difficulty into his life. Everything is not working when a woman creates unnecessary arguments or frustrations or disappointments, and he will likely not move forward unless and until these are resolved. And if he's dealing with these issues, he's not spending time and energy on making the rest of his life work, which will further compromise his willingness to commit. So whatever you do, don't rock the boat. You'll probably just end up getting tipped out of it. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your support and thank you for listening. And now, a word about Stellar. If you're interested in pursuing a master's degree or a doctorate, chances are good that you'll have to take the GRE. Now, before I became a psychologist, I was actually one of the world's top GRE test prep instructors. Over 20 years, I developed a unique and practical system for dismantling every aspect of this test, and I helped thousands of students achieve top percentile scores on the exam. Today, students can learn the same system I used to achieve my own perfect score with Stellar GRE, my online GRE self-study program. I personally wrote and designed every aspect of this course. Among other things, it includes a 500-page test prep manual, thousands of practice problems, and several full-length mock exams. Just like my episodes, Stellar is designed to give students the strategies and techniques they need to succeed as clearly and succinctly as possible. And the best part is, Stellar works. My students' average score improvements are higher than my competitors' score guarantees. So, create an account and start your free trial today at stellargre.com. Use the code PSYCH for 10% off any membership plan. The link is in the description.